The United States will contribute half of this total, $10 billion, the majority for projects under the Non-Lugar Cooperative Threat Reduction Program. 13 additional countries have now joined the global partnership and added their resources. The United States now has non-proliferation projects underway not only in Russia, but in Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Georgia, and other former Soviet states, as do other global partnership countries. The United States has also recently begun assistance programs in Iraq and Libya. We are encouraging our partners to undertake their own projects in such states worldwide. And at the Sea Island Summit in Georgia this June, the G8 agreed to use the global partnership to coordinate our activities in these areas. Even with all that has been done, much more remains, as the administration is the first to point out. The President laid out an agenda listing several areas in which additional action is urgently needed, including addressing the proliferation problems inherent in countries seeking to acquire the complete nuclear fuel cycle and the need for expanded export controls worldwide. At the G8 summit at Sea Island, G8 leaders endorsed the President's agenda. In an action plan on non-proliferation, the leaders agreed upon a number of steps, such as strengthening PSI and the global partnership, and further elaborating upon each of the President's proposals. In particular, G8 leaders committed to work together to address the threats posed by North Korea and Iran. Libya is a powerful precedent that a state can surrender weapons of mass destruction without regime change. This message puts in stark relief the obfuscation of the North Korean and Iranian governments in the face of international pressures to come clean and give up their nuclear programs. While we are working diplomatically on both fronts to keep the pressure on, the six-party talks in the North Korean context and the International Atomic Energy Agency investigation in the Iranian context, our ultimate objective is to ensure that these programs do not continue. We cannot let Iran, a leading sponsor of international terrorism, acquire nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to Europe, Central Asia, and the Middle East and beyond. Without serious, concerted, immediate intervention by the international community, Iran will proceed down that road. While we work to bring this issue to the UN Security Council, we are simultaneously pursuing other measures to bring to a halt to Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons, including the Proliferation Security Initiative, worldwide diplomatic efforts, including with Russia, the supplier of Iran's Bushehr reactor, and improved enforcement against exports to Iran. With North Korea, the approach is different. Sadly, the leader of North Korea has not made the strategic choice to move away from the destructive legacies of the past and place his people first. He fails to recognize what Libya realized. His pursuit of weapons of mass destruction makes North Korea less secure, not more. We have a framework for negotiations with the North Koreans in place through the six-party talks. And while these six-party talks are a means to an end, we still believe it is the best venue at this time to realize the shared goal of all countries participating, namely a Korean peninsula permanently free of nuclear weapons. Some have accused the Bush administration of ignoring the North Korean nuclear issue, allowing it to fester, given our refusal to engage in direct bilateral negotiations with North Korea. This criticism is off the mark. The U.S. government has tried the bilateral route, and it failed in the agreed framework of 1994. The agreed framework did not resolve the North Korean nuclear issue. It simply postponed it and ultimately made it worse. You know the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We will not be fooled again by the North Koreans. It would be the height of irresponsibility for the United States to negotiate a Band-Aid solution and leave the problem to the future when North Korea again decided to flip a switch and unfreeze its program. We are interested in a lasting and meaningful solution to the threat posed by North Korea's efforts to acquire nuclear weapons. This was the fundamental failing of the 1994 agreed framework, and the Bush administration will not repeat it. We are making up for decades of stillborn plans, wishful thinking, and irresponsible passivity. After many years of hand-wringing, with the vague hope of finding shelter from gathering threats, we are now acting decisively. We will no longer accept being dispirited by difficult problems that have no immediate answer. President Bush has begun to lay the basis for a comprehensive root and branch approach to the mortal danger of the proliferation of weapons of our destruction. Let there be no doubt that this administration is determined to use every resource at its disposal to stem WMD proliferation. We use diplomacy regularly, economic pressure, active law enforcement, and, when we must, military force. As President Bush said in his speech to the National Defense University, there is a consensus among nations that proliferation cannot be tolerated. Yet this consensus means little unless it is translated into action. Every civilized nation has a stake in preventing the spread of weapons of mass destruction. We are only at the beginning, but it is an extraordinary beginning. We are now not only meeting this ultimate of threats on the field, but we are advancing on it, battling not only aggressively, but successfully. For the outcome of this battle may be nothing less than the chance to survive. Thank you very much.